Hi, welcome. I'm glad you guys are joining us today. We wanted to get together and share a little bit about the doctoral program at the University of North Texas in counselor education. I am Dee Ray. I am chair of the doctoral admissions committee for the program. And we thought we'd just spend some time giving you some information about the program. And I'm going to introduce or allow Dr. Ceballos to introduce herself.
Hi, yes, and I'm Peggy Ceballos, and I'm an associate professor here at the University of North Texas and coordinator for the master's and PhD program. And welcome to listen to us talking about the program. And I'll let Matthew introduce himself.
Thanks, Peggy. My name is Matthew Limburger-Truelove, and I'm a professor in the counseling program. And I greatly appreciate you all spending a little bit of time listening to what we have to say that will help you make an informed decision. And so with that in mind, Dee, can you tell us a little bit about the doctoral program here at UNT?
Yes, I am happy to. So there are a lot of details to our doctoral program. We are a full-time program, and we expect our students to be full-time students. We have a 72-hour program, and it usually goes from 3 to 4 years, depending on the student's decision-making regarding degree plan and outside interest and responsibilities. But overall, generally, most of our students are here for 4 years with the possibility of 3. And it is a PhD in counselor education, and it's a CACREP accredited program. Very proud of that fact. We have our courses are designed around the CACREP requirements. So we have courses in research, courses in supervision, courses in teaching. In fact, the 3 of us are all teach in those areas for the program. And so we help students become experts in the areas of research and as counseling supervisors, counselors, and counselor educators. All of those are our focus. We also have what we call a portfolio requirement. And the purpose of the portfolio requirement is to help students be able to gain all the expertise that they need, and also to allow them to be ready for the marketplace, to be ready to go out and to do counselor education, if that's what their goal is. Or if they want to go into clinical work, we also encourage students to do that also. So the portfolio concentrates in areas of clinical experiences, of supervision experiences, teaching experiences, leadership experiences is important for us. We like our students, our counseling students, to become leaders in the field and advocates for social change. So we are very interested in helping mentor those areas as well as research. So we do require areas of publication, of getting out there, learning how to do research, learning how to write up research, and being able to be a contributor to the field of counseling. And we have different specialty areas at University of North Texas. When a student comes in, they have a general degree plan that all of their peers would take. And then they specialize in areas that they're particularly interested in and want to develop an expertise in. And those are specialty areas within adolescent and adult counseling, college counseling, career counseling, couples and families, group counseling, play therapy, and school counseling area. So all of those are particular specialty areas that students have the option to specialize in. And I'm trying to see if there are any other things that I would like to share. That's a general overview. Our program does have a focus on clinical work. We do have clinical experiences that go throughout most of a doctoral student's program. And because we really encourage the counselor part of counselor education, we want to make sure that our students are experts in counseling before they learn to supervise it and research it and teach it. So that is a particular interest of ours. And I think that's a pretty general overview. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Peggy. So Peggy, can you tell us a little bit more about kind of our faculty-student relationships and our program culture?
Yes, so at UNT currently we are 12 faculty members in the program, and we have expertise across many different areas. And so some of these areas include play therapy, school counseling, career development. Some of our faculty also specialize in mentorship in counselor education, offender counseling, multicultural and social justice issues in the field, women's issues, animal-assisted therapy, use of technology in counseling, as well as clinical supervision and international student issues in education, among some other topics. And so, as you can see, we have a great variety of expertise among our faculty, and our faculty conducts high quality quantitative and qualitative research across all of these many areas of expertise, and they teach across all of these areas. And we're always involving our doctoral students in these research projects that we have going on in these different areas. But I think what is most important to know about our faculty is how much we really value the mentorship that we develop with our students, and how we really value that relationship, and honor really our ability to help our doctoral students to achieve their professional goals. And so I think when I think about our faculty, I think that the one characteristics that we all share in common is how much we really are focused on developing those mentorship with our doctoral students, and really doing that one-on-one attention and development that we have, and we invest in their professional development. And so with that, I want to now ask Matthew if he can talk to us a little bit more about what he sees that we look for in applicants, and what do you think makes a successful doctoral student?
Thanks, Peggy. Yeah, there's certainly a great number of qualities, and I'm only probably going to list about 5 of them, but there's a number of other things that go beyond this small list. But obviously, a doctoral program does challenge you intellectually, and so there is a certain academic background, particularly that's relevant to counseling, that's a necessary antecedent for successful work. But this, could include things beyond that helps contribute to your professional identity, which includes, membership in professional organizations, professional presentations, things that really show that you have a commitment to counseling, and generally predicts it's a good fit for you to enter into a doctoral program in counseling. Also related to that, professional experiences. Having worked in formal counseling roles is generally a good predictor of successful entrance into a doctoral program. Also, someone who has an interest in being a thought leader. One of the major differences, I'm going to use a metaphor here, between a doctoral program and a master's program in counseling. It used to be in the old days that that tablets were designed to consume knowledge, that you could learn a bunch of things, and that's really kind of what a master's degree in counseling does. Is it you learn about all of the content that makes you a master of something. Whereas a doctoral program is more like a computer, where you still consume things to be successful, but in addition to that, you're producing information. You're a new innovator. You're looking at things different that can contribute to scholarship, can contribute to teaching, and can also contribute to the different ways that the profession might move forward with social engagement in the future. Also, we're looking for individuals who work well with others. A relational disposition, generally defined, is someone who can be reflective, assertive, pensive, compassionate, tenacious towards accomplishing one's goals. Also related to this, we have a program signature that is related to personal growth and social advocacy. So we're definitely looking for candidates who are actively engaged in meaningful ways to promote access and opportunity for individuals, especially the most blighted. And then finally, looking for goodness of fit. One of the major differences also between a master's program and a doctoral program is that you'll have a close working relationship with a doctoral advisor who will be a mentor in many ways, and identifying someone who can help cultivate your ideas and who can help you accomplish all of the things that you really want to maximize your educational experiences is a critically important thing. When you think of a doctoral program, and we've kind of talked about this before, it should position you not just for successes in that doctoral program itself, but also thinking about the end in mind. How can this help contribute to whether you want to be a counselor educator, a leader in the local community as a supervisor or teaching adjunct, or a leader in private practice or in school communities. Thinking about how your doctoral program can provide you the specific opportunities, including the type of mentorship that you'll receive. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I wanted to ask, I thought we could kind of address this issue of why get a doctoral degree, and also why get a doctoral degree at University of North Texas. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I'll start with a doctoral degree in general. I think that a doctoral degree, as kind of I alluded to before, really puts you in a place that it compels you to not just be an expert of what the field is, but what it can become. There's a kind of baked in optimism about the best of counseling. And I think a doctoral program helps challenge you to think differently about the field, but then also encourages you to share those thinkings with other individuals. It's not just this myopic kind of enterprise. It's really a shared enterprise between you and other individuals who really want to make this profession the best it can possibly be. And I think, that kind of dovetails nicely into why UNT. Our faculty truly are leaders in a number of places, both within the profession, but then even transcend into the profession, and therefore work really nicely with students to make certain that their needs are met and that they're challenged in a way that even new needs emerge and they can accomplish those as well.
Yes.
What about you, Peggy?
Yeah. I think for me, when it really goes back to, I think, personal goals. And for me, it was about continuing to develop my identity beyond just what my master's allowed me to do as a counselor. And seeing myself in that counselor educator identity, developing my identity as a professor, as a supervisor, and even continuing to develop my clinical skills beyond what my master's allowed me to do. And so that for me was the reason to continue my education, to get in a doctoral program, and the reason to engage in that. Also, that research was a big part for me. That really took my attention about a doctoral program. And so I when you asked that question, for me, what came off to me is that there are many different reasons, and the reasons vary depending on who you are and what your personal motivations are. But that I think that that it depends.
Yeah, I want to add one thing to my answer that was inspired by both of you, inspired by Peggy's answer, but also inspired by a study that you did with a group of students almost a decade ago, Dee, where you looked at the numbers of studies that were done in our field that pertain to interventions. Earlier, you mentioned our prioritization on counseling practice. And while there's a great number of truly incredible programs across the country, I think one of the things that differentiates the counseling program at UNT is that you are both develop an acumen as a practitioner, but then also the amount of scholarship that comes out of here specific to the practice and client outcomes is distinctly different than most programs. There's a paucity of intervention pieces in our literature, and a critical number of those come out of here, and working with some of the most disenfranchised communities, showing what the potential of counseling can be when it's enacted in the most helpful way.
Yeah, I'm going to answer my own question too, because listening to you guys. Yeah, I think that why to get a doctoral degree for me is this whole idea of, I have this very idealistic view of academia in terms of the creators of knowledge, right? Like that's kind of what our job is to create knowledge. And so I love the idea of being able to learn research and to do research so you can contribute to, hey, we know more now about counseling than we used to know. That I really value that. And then how that fits in with UNT for me is, Matthew, when you said thought leaders, I think I just love that, because I do think our faculty is full of thought leaders of here are some really different ways to look at counseling, and here are ways that we need to look at intervention. Here's the way we need to look at theoretical concepts, and and then let's go try these things out. So it's really neat for me to be on a faculty where we have these ideas, but they don't just stay as ideas. Then we make them, put them into constructs that we can test and look at. And then to have the diversity of areas of, school counseling and play therapy and animal assisted and multicultural themes and offender counseling, like these unique areas. That's just a really, to me, very cool thing that we do. So I can go on about bragging about our program. But I do love that for our doctoral students, that they get to really launch into the areas that they're most interested in and be able to contribute overall to the field in those areas. Did y'all have other questions you thought we should address?
Nothing comes to mind right now. So
yeah, okay. I was thinking too, how do the needs of our students and our incoming students are so diverse, and because we do have this commitment to multiculturalism and being culturally inclusive. How do you think our program addresses that with our students?
I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is something that I mentioned when I talk about the culture, is that we really value that one-on-one mentorship. And I think when I think about attending to diverse needs, that's the first priority that comes to mind, is really getting to know individually what are those needs for each person, and then forming those individual mentorship and relationships where, depending on those individual needs, we attend to that, right? And in a relational way, in a way where we create those spaces that the student needs to support that development and to provide the guidance and the resources that student needs in particular. And so for me, that relational piece and that relational mentorship and support comes to mind. And I really value that as a faculty. I truly value that about our faculty, that I think that is the one characteristic that we all share in common, is that we all try to do that with our doctoral students and form those individualized mentorship relationships with our students.
Yeah, this is the one area where being a thought leader is not sufficient. What instead is necessary is exposure, and situatedness is important. And throughout your program, whether it's as a teacher instructing the next generation of counselors, or as a supervisor, or participating in research studies, or working with faculty, because of our commitment, you have constant exposure to a diversity. And so that's where the thoughts evolve into exposure and experience. And the only way to truly have a diverse perspective is to engage with diverse individuals. And being situated in the DFW Metroplex, working with great diversity of clients, working with a great diversity of counseling students, working with a great diversity of ideas across those intersecting identities, provides the type of exposure that's not just hypothetical, but is something that helps you grow throughout your development as a doctoral student.
I'm so glad you said that, Matthew, because I completely forgot to say we are in Denton, Texas, which is this really cool city, town out in the suburbs of Dallas-Fort Worth area. So it's a very unique area. We're very dedicated to the arts and music. So it's kind of our own little, I think it's called the Little Austin, but some of us like it better than Austin. I know that's terrible to say, but Denton is this great, unique area that the university is situated in. So I think I'll just ask you guys one last question. It goes along with some of the things that Matthew talked about already, but just you personally, what are the top 3 things you think all students applying to a doctoral program should know?
The first of which is some recommendations that I was given. If you can get in, you can finish, right? One of the hardest challenges is just getting involved. I think that the most difficult things about a doctoral program is not the work itself. It's the life things along the way that challenge us. And so if you find the right place, you will be successful. The second of which, is something I've already mentioned. I think this is one of which is that Dee is alluding to, and that is finding the right mentor and the right community, finding your tribe that can help support you. So many people nowadays choose doctoral programs based upon certain conveniences, economic, geographic, and those are important because having your community is important. But also in a doctoral program in particular, because of the ways that you're intellectually challenged, finding people who can really help maximize why you're there so that you can get out and be the best version of that type of professional you want to be. And thirdly, I think this has more to do with like pursuance, like just maximizing your time. And it sounds almost like a platitude, but it's so easy to get caught up in this opportunity that presents itself to you rather than being intentional and saying, these are the things I want to do to maximize my time. So I think that's a 3 that I'll go with for now.
Sounds good. Peggy?
Yeah, I think so. Picking on that last one, because that was one of mine too. And the way that I always put it is a way that I heard a really good colleague of mine saying, don't let the process go through you, go through the process. And so I like that. So I think for me, that's the number one, like, be intentional about how you're going about the process, make sure that you're prioritizing. And I think that's going to Matthew's last point, prioritizing what is important, what you want to get out of the process of it is a big commitment. And so what do you want to get out of it? And knowing that then can help you to get the most out of it. I think self-care, knowing what your self-care looks like, what those needs are for you, and how you can engage in that self-care that you need to have that balance in your life, whatever that looks for each person, And and I think the third one for me is I think as simple as it sounds, but enjoying the process. It can be stressful, but I actually think there are many things about the process that once it's done and you look back, there are many enjoyable things about going through a doctoral program. And in the moment, we don't see it because we're in the moment and everything is happening so quickly. And so I say to students sometimes, just take a moment, take a deep breath and enjoy it. Take a moment to enjoy it. Yeah.
Great advice. Yeah, I love all of y'all's. Mine would be like a commitment to personal and professional growth. To me is number one, because that's what makes a great student and eventually a great leader. And the other one, I'll just be a little bit more academic. Organizational skills are very important in a doctoral program, being able to be organized. And then a commitment to counseling, which is big for me. So yeah, so that's kind of fun. Like maybe people can put a list of our 3 that are overlapping. And so we're going to wrap up. I did want to share our website, that if you're interested in the doctoral program at the University of North Texas, this is where you would go. It's coe.unt.edu/counseling-doctor-philosophy. Hopefully you can just screenshot this and you'll have it and go to there. And you are welcome to email me at dee.ray@unt.edu. And I can either answer your questions or I can send you to somebody who can answer your questions. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Matthew and Peggy. I really appreciate y'all doing this. And yeah, so we're looking forward to an exciting admissions time.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you everyone for watching.